Hello, welcome. Astrology is one of my favorite subjects. Divisional chart. Divisional chart. No, they tell us how good or bad the quality of the chart appears on the surface level, what it actually is, and how it is in the concerned area. Like, how is a particular dasha in the D1 chart? That's fine. But how will it be for children? How will it be for marriage? How will it be for work? We need to look at divisional charts. It helps us to see both static and dynamic promises. There's a lot of talk about static promises. Today we will talk about dynamic promises. If a dasha has come, it should be looked at not just with the D1 chart, but also with the mother chart and the divisional charts. This is to explain how the dasha will go in the area that we have booted our situation about. Will we get that result or not? Let's get started. Dashas and D charts discussed. Dasha and divisional charts or Varga Kundalis or D charts. We'll focus on the general principles. As we say, in the D1 chart, the 3rd, 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are considered bad. They show the challenges, struggles, and skills. Similarly, in the divisional chart, the houses are not considered very favorable either. If a planet is sitting in these houses, in the divisional chart, it indicates challenges, especially when its time period comes. Now, if there is a natural benefic planet sitting in the 3rd and 6th houses, let's say it is in a high position or in a good sign, in a friendly sign, then it can still withstand the energy. But if there is a natural benefic planet sitting in the 3rd and 6th houses and it hasn't got a good sign, now that dasha won't be promising for us either. After the 36th, no planet is good in the 8th and 12th houses. If you find any planet, consider it favorably. Friendship and enmity are important for planets. If in a good sign, give grace marks. Cruel signs in the 8th or 12th house matter. Planets in cruel signs in the 8th or 12th house are significant. But if a planet goes into a cruel sign in the 8th or 12th house, let's say it goes into its own sign, but in a cruel sign, if a natural malefic planet goes into a sign and lands in the 8th or 12th house, now that planet will show issues, and if it's in a malefic sign, it will create more trouble. Now, having afflictions in the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses, this is the main trine house that indicates the ending of something. And if something bad is happening in these houses with afflictions, the 4th house shows happiness. In D9, afflictions affect marriage. In the D9 chart, if the 4th house or the 4th lord is afflicted, it creates difficulties in finding happiness in marriage. 4th, 8th, 12th houses affect marriage. Malefic planets here cause issues. The launchability of marriage and the 12th house's bad pleasures are influenced by malefic planets. A weak or debilitated planet in the divisional chart causes problems. Cruel signs cause struggles. Weak planets bring issues. Debilitation in gentle signs needs. Weak planet in the divisional chart causes issues. In gentle signs, use common sense for benefit. Good house and planet associations suggest support. Check if negatives lean positive. Opposite elements like Moon in Aries, D1, and Cancer, D30, don't support each other. If this debilitation is in a gentle sign, then you need to apply some common sense here. You would give it a little benefit. If its debilitation is happening in good houses, and it has associations with good planets, then it means that the debilitation indicates that I have something lacking. If the debilitation is supported by someone, it means I have a support system. You always need to check how the negative layers we are talking about here are leaning towards negativity or positivity. Now, if a planet, let's say the moon, is sitting in Aries in the D1 chart and then goes into Cancer in the D30 chart, it is considered that if a planet goes into an opposite or enemy element in the D1 and D30 charts, that element does not support it. For example, fire does not support water. It is a complete enemy element. But you also need to understand that if a fiery planet was in a water sign in the D1 chart and then goes into a watery sign in the D30 chart. If a planet is in a hostile element in the D1 and D30 charts, it will show challenges regardless of whether the yoga is good or bad in the D1 chart. Check that in the D chart. You also need to check in the divisional charts whether that yoga is good or bad again. If there is a planet whose time period has come and it is placed in a wealth yoga or a royal yoga in the D1 chart, if it is also placed in such yogas in the D9 or D10 charts, then it will be very good for work. Because we need to find repetitive patterns in divisional charts today compared to the D1, never forget that the D1 is a mother chart. It's the base chart from which we do all calculations and match all the results. We never leave the D1 chart. When any divisional chart comes under the influence of Rahu or Ketu, whether Rahu or Ketu is in the ascendant or connected with the ascendant lord, that chart influences us karmically because these are karmic planets. In the D10 chart, if Rahu is in the ascendant and Ketu is in the 7th house or vice versa, this means that you are karmically connected through your actions. They can be in any way good or bad because Rahu and Ketu give the most results based on their dispositor. Any ongoing Dasha, if it goes into Scorpio or Aquarius signs in the divisional charts, will still show a karmic impact. Because the rulers of these two signs are Rahu and Ketu. Now, if a planet is in Scorpio in the D1 chart and it moves into any divisional chart in a variable sign, then it is karmically significant from both sides. Now, this definitely shows a connected karma, but I have sometimes seen a positive karma there. When we talk about remedies, it is believed that if any planet is afflicted during the week of Aquarius and Aquarius, then its remedy is the most difficult because both of these are fixed signs and they are also karmic signs. Now, you might have heard of M, D, and D, Principal, Mahadasha, and Antardasha Lord. When 212 or 68 appear, it relates to 6, 8, or 212 in the divisional chart. That would be worse. If they are sitting 68 especially, or 2 times in the divisional chart, then the repetitive pattern of the divisional chart is indicating that yes, this problem is related to 6, 8, or 2, 12. I am finding it here. If any significator is debilitated or weak in any divisional chart, it also indicates trouble or a lack of happiness there. It doesn't show happiness. The meaning of a significator is that true happiness will be diminished there. If any significator is placed in the ascendant of a divisional chart and is affected, Venus in D9 ascendant may harm marriage. Any significator like Venus signifies the wife. If it is placed in the ascendant of the divisional D9 chart, even if it is not afflicted, the rule is that the marriage will not go well. There will be problems in the marriage, but it has mostly been observed. Venus doesn't cause problems. It's important Venus be affected. If Mercury is afflicted in the ascendant of the D24 chart, then it's not good for education. You should carefully observe where the Mahadasha or Antardasha Lord is placed in the divisional chart, with whom it is conjunct, and with whom it has aspects. I have seen 2 sets of beliefs regarding these rules. I have read in some books that it is a hidden contact of the planet as the time period of Venus in the mind is going on and Venus is connected with the Sun. If the Sun is the 10th Lord in the D10 chart and the D1 chart, then Venus will also give results of the 10th house and the 10th Lord during its time period because it has connected in a hidden way with the 10th Lord. We also talk about these things by posting super. So the beliefs system, it says that in this way, we will derive results from every house somehow, but we won't actually know what the results will be. This means that the planet is bringing the behavioral pattern of that planet into play For example, if Venus is with the sun, then it is bringing the behavior of the sun into the wife. And all those things that Venus rules in the D1 chart, just that, and nothing more. Let's understand this with an example chart. Main period of Venus. They got married during the main period of Ketu, and discussions had been ongoing since then. His wife always used to tell him that they shouldn't stay in India. They need to go abroad and settle down there. There isn't much to keep in India. And he also believed the same, that they should go abroad. But his qualifications weren't that great. His wife got the visa, but he didn't. She would go first and call him, visit and join if fine. So his wife said that first I will go there and get settled there, then I will call you. You thought it would be fine for you to go there and see how it is. And if you feel comfortable, then I will come too. His family took a lot of loans to send his wife to Australia. When she went there, she started working as a backup dancer in Punjabi movies and songs in Australia, trying to establish her place in a new country. But what did his wife do? She cut off all contact with him. So basically, Tina was betrayed. Marriage, if we look at the static promise of the chart, both from the 7th house and its lord, Rahu, and Jupiter indicates betrayal in marriage. The 7th lord in Ganmul Nakshatra reduces happiness. These reasons led to betrayal in marriage or lack of marital bliss. Having the 7th lord in the eye, Gandmul Nakshatra, reduces happiness there. And in the 7th house, these were reasons for marital betrayal or lack of bliss. Having the Gandmul Nakshatra in the 7th house caused marital issues. Assessing Venus period, the Lagna lord is in the 2nd house. This left a huge scar on him. Now, when we assess the time period of Venus, we see that the Lagna lord is in the 2nd house. He is with the moon, which is his 10th lord. Venus considers the moon as an enemy and doesn't feel comfortable with it. Scorpio is also a very intense sign. Whenever there are too many Pisces, Scorpio, or Aquarius, those charts also become a bit difficult or heavy to read. But the good thing is that Mercury is also there, which is the lord of the 9th house. But Mercury, being the 12th lord, is also sitting between the moon, Venus, and Mercury. Here, the Dharma Karmadipati Yoga is also being formed, and it's in the Scorpio sign. It's forming with the planets that I don't consider my friends. Can I just say, based on all this, that they will face such a huge betrayal in their marriage? Maybe not for them during this time period. If I go into the D9 chart, I see that Venus is not my Lagna lord. He is Lagna, lord of D9 chart. It is in a debilitated state in the 12th house of the chart. We talked about the planets that are in the 3rd, 8th, and 12th houses of the chart, whether they are in a weak or afflicted state. They face difficulties. So, he is also with the sun, which is not a significator planet, in both the D1 and D9 charts. And the 12th also stands for foreign, and Venus is the lady of your life for earning money. The lady of your life they went abroad, and there they betrayed you. I will read this in such a way that Rahu is selecting my 7th house and its lord in the D1 chart. They are also selecting in the D9. They didn't leave you there either, which I was talking about regarding the repetitive patterns. Same chart in South Indian version. Let's take another example chart. This chart came to me during the Ketu time period when she was going through repeated miscarriages and was undergoing IVF treatment. What they wanted to know was whether I would be able to see my child in this lifetime. Ketu in the 5th house is bad. 5th lord with 6th means childbirth challenges. Ketu's placement is bad. Childbirth needs effort. The 5th lord in effort's house with 6th lord indicating effort needed for child. Watery planet in fire sign with 6th lord shows Saturn on Venus delays. Watery planets affect hormones, fertility, and happiness. When a watery planet is in a fire sign with a fire planet, Saturn on Venus causes delays. When a watery planet enters a fire element sign and sits with a fire element planet, which is also the sixth lord, the impact of Saturn on Venus shows natural delays. He is a Manam Kundi. Rahu affects childbirth. Ketu blocked it. Ketu caused childbirth obstacles. Ketu prevented them from having a child. They conceived during the Ketu and Mercury period but had a miscarriage. They conceived during the Ketu and Mercury period 6 months into pregnancy. She was excited but had a miscarriage. In the D1 chart, Ketu and Mercury sit together twice. And she was so excited she was finally having a child. But at that time, she had a miscarriage. Now, if we look at Ketu and Mercury in the D1 chart, we can say that both are sitting together twice. Going to the hospital, incurring expenses, having a natural malefic planet in the chart, meaning there is distress in the family, and so on. But to understand this on a deeper level, we need the D7 chart. If I look at Ketu in the D7 chart, it is placed in the 6th house. Mercury is in the 11th house. It is sitting in its own sign in the 11th house, but it is in a malefic position and is also aspected by Mars. The Mahadasha, and Antardasha are both Mo 68, which appears Mo twice in the D1 chart. Mercury is definitely in its own sign, but we must not forget that it is in a balanced position. I am at my home, but what good can I extract from my home? In the D1 chart, Jupiter being in a debilitated position and being aspected by Saturn, along with Jupiter moving into the house of efforts in the D7 chart, were all reasons that caused them difficulties. And as soon as the Venus period came, they conceived again, and she delivered her baby girl. Venus is sitting in the house of her hard work. Whenever there is an association between the 5th lord and the 6th lord, it indicates that medical intervention can help you have a child. Rahu also supports such things, so it's not necessary that if a planet is sitting in the 6th house, it will definitely cause an event to happen. If a planet is sitting in the 5th house and affecting it, it will prevent you from having a child. If a planet is sitting in the 7th house and affecting it, it will prevent you from getting married. In fact, if it happens, if there is a marriage and a child is born, that's where the sorrow will come from. So please make sure to keep these rules in mind. Whenever you are assessing any dasha in the divisional chart, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much.